When I first came into the sport, my favorite team was easily Roush Fenway Racing. They had the 99 of Carl Edwards, my favorite driver of all time to this day, and Matt Kenseth, my second favorite driver at the time, one of my favorites of all time, but second favorite driver at that time in the number 17. And I would root for those guys week in and week out. They're at the peak of their performance. It was a nice time for me. But as Carl and Matt left the team for Joe Gibbs Racing and Ricky Stenhouse and Trevor Bayne replaced them, it just wasn't the same. They weren't performing near as well as I saw my favorite drivers do, and I just fell out of love for the team and moved on to Hendrick. Yeah, call me a bandwagon if you want. But I always wondered to this day, what if Matt and Carl stayed? Would they be still rebuilding like they are today, or would they be competing for championships to this day? And that is the question that we're going to answer in today's What If. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the video, and today we are going to be talking about what if Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards never left Roush Fenway Racing. What would the team look like through whenever they left to 2020? So, it want to be a good one. So, be sure to get some popcorn or something and sit down and watch. Be sure to leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you guys enjoy, and comment down below what if do you guys want to see next. I'm trying to get these out once every month or two because I enjoy doing them. You guys seem to enjoy watching them, so that's a very good combination right there. Also, shout out to Chenry who helped me do this one and all of the other ones. If you guys haven't seen the other ones, I suggest you go watch them. We got what if Kevin Harvick never left RCR and what if DEI never shut down. The DEI one is easily my favorite to this point. And yeah, so I suggest you guys go check those out. But without further ado, let's get into the quick disclaimers. This is obviously not how it would go down. This is our opinion, me and Chinnery's opinion on how it would go down. And I'm sure there's plenty of different ways that it could go down. Please, by all means, comment down below. How do you guys think this would play out? And where did we go wrong? Or where do you think we went really right? Let us know down below in the comments. And yeah, I think that's about it. Do be warned, this is a new editing software. I got tired of the old one keeping on crashing, and so I got a new editing software, so there might be some stuff I'm not familiar with it, so there's some stuff that might be missing. But I also am trying a new style of how the video kind of flows that will maybe make it a little shorter and maybe a little easier for you guys to digest. So we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. To the 2012-2013 off season, Matt Kenseth will stay at Roush Fenway Racing because that's the whole point of this video. Ricky Stenhouse will now stay another year in the Xfinity Series, coming off a championship. Joey Logano stays in the number 20 another year because he isn't forced out by Matt. And Sam Hornish Jr. will stay another year with Penske because why not? Moving on to the 2013 season, at Roush, Matt Kenseth has a 4-win season instead of 7 wins that he had over at JGR, but still a solid 4-win season from him. And nothing changes for Carl because he was still at Roush, but Ricky Stenhouse will win his 3rd championship, nationwide championship that is, in a row. Moving on to JGR, Logano still struggles and goes winless as that Joe Gibbs-Joe Logano partnership just was never meant to be, and Sam Hornish Jr. does just about what you would expect from him to do in that car. Moving on to the 2013 playoffs, literally nothing changes, and Jimmie Johnson will continue as your 2013 champion. Now we're at the 2014 offseason where we start finally seeing some changes in rides. Starting with Clint Bowyer, who leaves a dying Michael Waltrip Racing, brings sponsor 5 Hour Energy with him to Penske's number 22. Over at JGR, Joey Logano gets kicked out of the number 20, and MTJ will replace him in that ride. Logano will then go to number 15 to replace Clint Bowyer. Roush Fenway will actually partner with Wood Brothers Racing instead of Penske to put Ricky Stenhouse in number 21 full-time next season. Remember, he has 3 nationwide championships, if that means anything for you. AJ Allmendinger steps into the number 78 instead of the 47, and the 47 goes to Trevor Bayne. Now on to the 2014 season where we see some massive playoff changes that changes up some people's legacies. But let's start with the regular season here where Matt Kenseth has an average Matt Kenseth season, goes winless, but like I said, just an average Matt Kenseth season. Moving along to Wood Brothers where Ricky Stenhouse, number 21, does just about as you would expect, up and down throughout the year, but not bad, I guess. I don't know, just about like his rookie year. Over at Penske, Clint Bowyer gets 3 wins and a solid season over there in that Penske number 22. A lot better than he was running in that 15 at this time. Over at JGR, MTJ in number 20 struggles due to the personal issues he struggled with in real life, but it's still better than Joey was the previous year. Speaking of Joey Logano, he is ass, for lack of a better word, over at MWR, and it's just a shell of what we really saw in in real life. And MWR is not helping him at all, as that is a dying organization. Moving along to Furniture Row, AJ Allmendinger has a great season, capped off with his win at Watkins Glen like he did in real life. Finally, over at JTG, Trevor Bayne, he just needs to start his coffee shop right now. But let's get into the 2014 playoffs, where everything gets interesting. Bowyer will make it and replace Joey Spot, who has a bad season, obviously, and Bowyer's in his ride. AJ Allmendinger will actually nab a round of 12 berth from Ryan Newman. Allmendinger will string together 3 top 10s and is able to keep his Cinderella story alive and moves on to the round of 8. AJ Allmendinger in the Furniture Row number 78 on a Cinderella story run right now. And Matt Kenseth will have an implosion in the round of 12, which allows AJ Allmendinger to make it into that round. Bowyer and Kyle Busch both make the round of 8, replacing the holes left by a Newman and Logano. And Jeff Gordon and Brad Keselowski replace Logano and Newman in the round of 4. And with a lot of momentum heading into the championship, Jeff Gordon in his final season. This is what NASCAR wanted that entire season. They get what they want, and Jeff Gordon will win his 5th championship of his career. So I don't know if it's because I picked that Martinsville race to play over it, but for some reason when I was recording that segment, I guess I thought that Jeff Gordon's last season was 2014 or something. So I apologize to all Jeff Gordon fans who are probably pissed at me for getting that wrong. But hey, I gave him an extra championship, so don't be too mad at me. Moving along to the 2014-2015 offseason, there's a lot of stuff here, so hopefully you're able to catch up. Edwards stays at Roush, and the 19 does not open. I hope you guys were able to process all of that. I'll give you a moment of silence to process that. Moving on to the 2015 season, where Matt Kenseth, doesn't go off for the 5 wins he had in real life, but still has a solid 3 wins on the season. Carl Edwards is able to earn 2 wins as well in the number 99. Remember, he stayed. Over at Wood Brothers Racing, the 21 of Ricky Stenhouse has a mediocre sophomore season. Nothing much to report there. Over at Penske, the 22 of Clint Bowyer gets 2 wins on the year. A solid season from him. Over at JGR, the 20 of MTJ has a breakout season of Joe Gibbs, just like he did with Furniture Row, and earns 3 wins on the year. Over at Michael Waltrip Racing, Joey Logano is on a dying organization, has no stability whatsoever, and is just not able to perform under those circumstances. And a completely different scenario in 2015 on this team than he did in real life. Looking over at Furniture Road, the 78 of AJ Allmendinger gets a road course win at Sonoma, and the team sees improvements all around with the addition of Cole Pern. Over at JTG, for some reason, Brad Daugherty, didn't tell Bayne to go start his coffee shop, and Bayne's not doing too hot over there as you would expect, and Brad hopefully will finally tell him to go start the coffee shop. But moving on to the 2015 playoffs, AJ Allmendinger will fill the gap left by Joey Logano, and Bowyer will make it to the round of 12, replacing Ryan Newman, but KFB Kyle Busch still wins the 2015 championship. Moving on to the 2016 offseason, JGR finally opens up the number 19 team for Eric Jones to make the jump to the Cup Series. Blaney gets a full-time Xfinity season. Remember, he didn't get a full-time Xfinity or truck season, so it's a little more experience there in the Xfinity, and he just gets to run a whole year. Moving along, Trevor Bayne is booted out at JTG in favor of Joey Logano. Sayonara, Bayne. Enjoy your time at the coffee shop. Moving along to the 2016 season, Matt Kenseth gets 2 wins just like IRL. Carl Edwards gets 3 wins. And Biffle is the main benefactor from Matt and Carl both staying, as he is able to run just as consistent as his teammates, but is unable to capture a win. Over Wood Brothers Racing, there's some improvements for Ricky Stenhouse, but about what you would expect from him. Moving along to Penske Racing, Bowyer in the number 22 has a year similar to the year prior. Nothing much improved, but nothing regressed. Over at JGR, MTJ has a year similar to what he had in real life over at Furniture Row Racing, and Eric Jones has the same year, almost identical year, as he had in the 77, his rookie year. Moving along to Furniture Row, AJ Allmendinger in the 78 finally wins at an oval and wins at the Glen, of course. And over at JTG, Joey Logano just can't seem to put together a good season. You know, the equipment's a little bit worse than it would be simply because Bain wasn't getting a lot of money for the team. And so Logano is just not able to really elevate that car to where it needs to be. Moving on to the 2016 playoffs, a lot of shakeups here. Chris Buescher failed to stay in the top 30 due to extra cars and is unable to make the playoffs. Jamie Mack and Joey Logano both leave open spots, and Greg Biffle's resurgent year puts him back into the playoffs along with AJ Allmendinger and Clint Bowyer. Bowyer makes it all the way to the round of 8 in that number 22 for Penske. Kenseth will replace Logano in the championship 4, and Roush Fenway now has 2 cars in the final race rather than 0 as it did in real life in 2016. Moving along, Logano is not up front. He's running in the back in the number 47 and is not up front on a certain restart that makes me sad to this day. And Carl Edwards, in his final season in the Cup Series, gets his first ever championship. I'm just gonna let that sink in. You know, it's nice for me to say that. Moving on to the 2016-2017 offseason, Carl unfortunately still leaves. I don't think anything would change that. He was set on spending time with family. More power to him. So Stenhouse will replace him in the 99. Blaney still goes to the 21, which is now ran by Penske, of course. And Biffle will stay another year in the 16. Logano will get the boot for Chris Buescher, but it's just a one-car organization. Buescher just drives to 47. Almirola will now jump ship from RPM and go to the 14 at SHR because Bowyer is, obviously content in the 22, and Logano will replace Almirola in the 43. Moving on to the 2017 season, Matt Kenseth will do just about what you expect from Matt Kenseth, especially in 2017. Biff still has a solid season, nothing special but nothing bad. Stenhouse gets his 2 plate wins at Daytona and Talladega while putting together an all-around solid season, unlike IRL. So instead of just winning at the super speedways like he did in 2017 in real life, he's actually able to put together some solid top 5s and top 10s. Moving on to JGR, MTJ has an even better season than IRL and goes off for 9 wins on the year. Stage winner MTJ. Moving on, Eric Jones has a similar to his first IRL Joe Gibbs season, progressing about the same as he did in real life. Penske, Bowyer in the number 22 fails to make the playoffs. Remember, he failed to make the playoffs in the 14. I think he has the same issues in that 22 as he did in the 14. Something was wrong there with him. Moving on, Furniture Row 78 of AJ Allmendinger puts together a solid 3-win season, including wins at two ovals and Sonoma. Almirola in the 14 has a similar year as Bowyer did in that first year, because I can't really pinpoint if that was SHR's fault or Bowyer's fault as to missing the playoffs. Logano continues to struggle more and more in RPM as that is an even less, stable situation as he had over in the 47. Moving on to the 2017 playoffs, AJ Allmendinger makes it to the round of 12, but no other changes are made, and MTJ with 9 wins on the year wins the championship in Joe Gibbs's number 20. In the 2018 offseason, with MTJ winning championships in the number 20, Furniture Row is forced to make room for Daniel Suarez, who will take over the number 78 and leaves Allmendinger without a ride. However, this partners Suarez with Cole Pern. Chris Buescher is given a promotion to number 16 as Greg Biffle retires. Roush has got a little more money in his pocket with the more consistent, finishes, and is able to keep that ride open, and Chris Buescher will slide in there instead of going to JTG. And after failing to make the playoffs, Bowyer gets the boot for younger Ryan Blaney, who's coming off a round of 8 season, and Blaney will drive the 22 instead of the 12 now. Bowyer will go to the 10 thanks to his relationship with Tony, and Allmendinger is forced to settle for the number 47 job. Matt Kenseth stays another full year in the Cup Series, but announces this will be his final full-time season, and that is the 2018 season, where Matt Kenseth falls off with the new package, but gets one final win at Phoenix, but the new package was just not his thing. Chris Buescher has a similar year to his 2020 year at Roush, a solid season, a sneaky good season, but nothing, out of the ordinary. Stenhouse gets another plate win at Dega, but is mediocre besides that. And over at JGR, MTJ runs about the same as IRL. Jones runs about the same as IRL because they're really in the same equipment as they were in IRL that season. Blaney will improve slightly with 2 wins on the year. Suarez is slightly better in IRL due to Cole Pern. And over at SHR, both Boyer and Almirola perform the same as they did in real life because, just like with JGR, they're on the same team at SHR, just a different number. Over at RPM, Joey is just can't get it done. It's just a rough character arc for Joey here in this what if. And finally, over at JTG, AJ Allmendinger finally, obviously he falls off from his performance at Furniture Row, but JTG is finally able to get a wheelman behind that 47 and gives the team its best season of all time. Moving on to the 2018 playoffs, Stenhouse replaces Bowman in the playoffs, and Jimmy and Stenhouse both make the round of 12. Blaney makes the round of 8, and Chase Elliott will make it to the round of 4 for the first time in his career, but MTJ will end up with his second career championship instead of Joey Logano winning that. So there have been a lot of changes in this what if, but there actually are no changes made here in the 2019 offseason except for Newman goes to the 17 instead of the 6, but he still goes to Roush, so no changes there. Furniture Row Racing still closes. Suarez still goes to the 41 after getting kicked out of the Furniture Row Racing. There's nobody in the JGR stables that he can kick out, and Kurt will still go to the number 1 after getting kicked out by Suarez. Allmendinger will still retire, and Priest will replace him in the 47. Just this time, he has a little bit better of a legacy heading out of the sport. Moving on to the 2019 season, Chris Buescher has a stellar season running consistently in the top 15. Think about how Buescher ran at the beginning of the season. He does that throughout the entire season. Newman has the great season that he had in real life and is able to make the playoffs. Stenhouse is still clearly the weak link at Roush, running about the same as he did in real life. Over at Penske, Ryan Blaney with a little bit early Todd Gordon partnership there. He's actually able to develop a lot better. He had more time in Xfinity, helps him out a little bit, and is actually able to break out for 4 wins on the year. Over at JTG, Ryan Priest, with all of JTG's equipment behind him, is actually able to perform well in his rookie year. Had a really rough rookie year and honestly sophomore year, but now without somebody diverting that equipment is able to perform well. I think Ryan Priest is a talented driver. I've said this multiple times, so I think he's very capable of doing this. Lastly, though, we got RPM, where Joey is still somehow there, but due to the lack of sponsorship and performance from Joey, this 43 switches to part-time in the middle of the season, spelling some dark times for the 43 car. And now it is time for the 2019 playoffs. Chris Buescher will take the spot left by Joey Logano as he's running part-time for RPM, so he won't be in the playoffs, and will actually make it to the round of 12. Chris Buescher does, replacing the spot left by Joey Logano again. Now that Joey Logano is not running up front in the 22 at Talladega, Bowman is not wrecked by him and is able to still get a top 10 and earn enough points to get into the round of 8. And Todd Gordon is actually able to crew chief Ryan Blaney into the round of 4 and kick out Kyle Busch. With Kyle no longer in the round of 4, Martin Truex Jr. will win his 3rd championship in a row, becoming one of the greatest drivers of all time, technically, I guess. I don't know. Y'all can talk about that yourselves, but let's go ahead on to the 2020 offseason, where Roush gets tired of Ricky tearing up the equipment, and he will go to the 38 instead of John Hunter Nemechek. Bubba will move to the Cup Series, replacing Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and RPM officially closes, and Joey Logano is just kind of goes around to different underfunded teams. He's a journeyman now. Moving on to the 2020 season, the final season of this what if, Chris Buescher continues his development and wins a race in that number 16. Newman is slightly better, but still misses the playoffs due to injury. And Bubba Wallace struggles with the jump to Cup, but he shows flashes of potential a lot like he has in his career so far. Over at CGR, Larson still does his oopsie, but instead of Matt Kenseth replacing him, AJ Allmendinger swoops in, fills in for Chip, or fills in for Kyle, I guess. And AJ is able to win a race at the Daytona road course, and I believe, that gets him into the playoffs. Penske, over at Penske, that is, Ryan Blaney backs up his round of 4 appearance with a great all-around season, looking like a championship contender. And finally at JTG, the potential of Ryan Priest is realized as he put together a solid campaign for the 47 team, even better than AJ Allmendinger's one season he had with the team. This is in the what if, not in real life, obviously. Earning a couple top 10s and finishing just short of the playoffs. Outstanding season from him. Speaking of playoffs, it is time for the 2020 playoffs, the final playoffs of this video. AJ Allmendinger will take Matt DiBenedetto's spot with a win, and Buescher makes it as well with that win. Blaney will not implode in the first round and moves on to the round of 12. Chris Buescher is actually able to edge out Kurt Busch with a outstanding performance, leading laps, getting stage points at Bristol. Unable to win, but still an outstanding performance there at Bristol for him. Blaney will move on to the round of 8, and Buescher will win a close battle between himself and Austin Dillon in order to make it to the round of 8. And Blaney will make his second round of 4 appearance and finishes a close second to Chase Elliott in the 2020 championship. Moving on to the final segment of this video, the 2020 and 2021 off-season, where Penske will expand to a 3-car team, adding Austin Cindric to the number 12. Bubba will jump ship to the 23 still, and Eric Jones will get a better ride in the number 99 at Roush Fenway Racing. And Daniel Suarez will still go to Trackhouse, but instead of driving the number 99, he will be driving the number 69 car. Nice. Hello, this is post-editing Left Turn Central here to do your outro, because recording Left Turn Central 3 weeks ago decided to leave the outro to me, post-editing Left Turn Central. So hello there, and it's been a while. I actually kind of have a beard now because I forgot my razor. I was on vacation, got like 4 hours of sleep last night in a truck, and then rode home, and I just spent about 5 hours finishing this video. So let's go ahead and give it the outro it deserves. If I start rambling or going a lot, which I will, it's because I'm exhausted. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get right into this. Basically what I'm just going to do here is kind of recap some of the major things that happened throughout this what if, and like what changed from reality. So starting with Roush, the whole point of this video, instead of going like this, it stayed pretty stagnant. You know, they never went back up to the top of the sport like they were in the with those 5 teams in the mid 2000s, but they stayed stagnant and actually won a championship with Carl Edwards in 2016, a year that had 2, not just Carl who won it, but also Matt Kenseth also made the Final 4 then, and all three of their cars were in the playoffs that year. So a really 180 from the 2016 they had with Ricky Stenhouse and Trevor Bayne. So Roush definitely benefited from this. Also, if you look at the position they're in now, Chris Buescher just came off a deep playoff run with a win, and Ryan Newman's, Ryan Newman about it, but they also just got Eric Jones, who I think is a very talented driver, and, with the improved equipment, and I guess technically if you look even farther down the line, I don't see any reason why Brad Keselowski still wouldn't go to Roush in this universe, because Roush is even better than they are in real life in this universe. So Brad Keselowski coming next season with Eric Jones and Chris Buescher there, that's actually a very scary lineup for the future. And now I really want to see it play out in real life. But Roush definitely benefited from this what if. Somebody who did not benefit from this what if was most certainly Joey Logano. After staying another year at Joe Gibbs because Matt Kenseth didn't replace him there, he did not have an opportunity like the Penske opportunity he had the year prior. So then that caused him to go to a dying Michael Waltrip Racing. And it's really a lot of, I guess JTG wasn't really dying, but then he went to RPM, which was another dying organization. So never really got the break he got with Penske, and was a journeyman because of it. Sorry if you heard my phone go off. It goes off. Anywho, so Joey Logano just becomes a journeyman who, I guess wasn't terrible, but never got a win, or I guess he got wins at JGR, but you know what I mean. Never really was able to turn the corner like he did in real life. But somebody who really benefited from this was Martin Truex Jr. 3 championships on his career, legacy cemented in NASCAR. His legacy already is cemented in NASCAR, but even further up the ranks of all-time drivers with 3 championships, win 9 races in a season, a historic season, and just all around, MTJ was easily the biggest benefactor of this what if. And I think it's really just a testament to how close he is to actually having 3 championships in real life. He finished second, I feel like in the championship literally every year the past couple of years, except for I guess 2020 he did. So MTJ, really, it is kind of crazy when you look into it how close he was to winning the 2018 and 2019. Remember, I think 2018 was the year that his pit crew messed up, which I'm not saying he needs to blame his pit crew, but it happened. 2019 he finished second to that Busch 2019. I don't know. But anyways, so MTJ was able to break through and win those championships in this reality and change up his legacy a lot and change the way people look at him. Other than that, off the top of my head, Jeff Gordon was able to get his 5th championship. Trevor Baynes started the coffee shop a little earlier. Ryan Preece was actually, with all of JTG's equipment behind him, able to carve out a better career for himself and is looking pretty good going into the 2021 season. But other than that, there's not really anything else I can think of. Ryan Blaney has had a better start to his career in the 22. Austin Cindric also got a earlier start in the 12 at Penske, so some earlier starts there for them. And yeah, I think that's really about it. There was a flicker in the light, that was pretty cool, but I think I'm just going to leave it there before you guys get to see me get taken by somebody from Stranger Things. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to like, by the way, hold on, I gotta give the spiel. Be sure to like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below what you guys think about this what if. What did you guys think about it? What what ifs do you guys want to see? Because I will be starting the next what if here pretty soon, at least the writing process of it, and then the editing. I might wait a little bit to record and edit it, but be sure to let me know what if you guys want to see next. And what do you think I can work on? I know there's a lot of words that I repeated quite a bit throughout this, so I want to try and work on not repeating them. Like, I know moving on and something else I said a lot, so I'm going to try and cut that out. But hope you guys enjoy. If you did, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, comment down below. I already said that. I'm tired. I will see you guys next one. Peace out.